17 million CDL records, 22 states fighting to keep the federal government from seeing them. And the two questions nobody seems willing to answer: why are these states afraid of releasing this information? And what is the government likely to find? In the big picture, this isn't really about privacy concerns or social security numbers. It all started with fake CDL schools, illegally issued CDL license by sanctuary states, and unqualified drivers killing American citizens on our national highways. And the federal government is taking these highway crash deaths seriously and is trying to get a handle on this situation by examining the issuing states' CDL records in order to find out how deep this problem really goes. But instead of helping to expose this CDL fraud, these 22 states ran straight to the courthouse and filed lawsuits. So you gotta ask yourself, is this really about protecting drivers' privacy? Or are these states really trying to cover up the extent of the fraud and allowing all of this to happen in the first place? The FMCSA and the Department of Homeland Security want access to the information contained within the CDLIS, which is the Commercial Driver License Information System. The CDLIS is funded by the federal government and helps each state determine the eligibility of CDL applicants. It can tell a state whether a driver already holds a CDL license in another state, what has been classified as disqualified, and which state holds the complete CDL record of that driver. The federal government is seeking 5 years' worth of information covering approximately 17 million commercial truck drivers in order to sort this puzzle out. That includes names, dates of birth, social security numbers, the issuing state, and driver's license numbers. Federal officials say the information is needed to investigate fraudulent CDL schools, illegally issued license, and possible immigration violations. But a coalition of 22 states and the District of Columbia filed 2 lawsuits trying to stop the FMCSA and the DOT from stopping the fraud. The states are making the argument about privacy concerns. And let's be fair, 17 million records is a massive amount of personal information for sure. And the government should be required to secure it and explain exactly how the information will be used. But isn't the federal government already doing just that? It was the federal government that issued your social security number to you. Therefore, the feds already have your social security number, your date of birth, and your CDL driver's license number, meaning the state's argument over privacy concerns really doesn't hold any water. But it does leave us with a much larger question that's just begging to be answered. What is it in these CDL records that these states are fighting so hard to keep hidden away? And especially so when considering these same states were previously so willy-nilly in passing out the CDLs like candy. Do you think the mounting traffic deaths out on our highways caused by illegally licensed drivers had anything to do with that? Some of the states trying to block this investigation have already been caught issuing illegal CDL licenses. A federal audit found that more than half of the non-domiciled CDL licenses examined in New York were not issued in compliance. That wasn't a stutter on my part, you heard that correctly. More than half of the non-domiciled CDL licenses examined in New York were fraudulent. The federal government ordered New York to identify and revoke the licenses that had been issued illegally. New York failed to satisfy that request, so Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced that more than $73 million worth of federal highway funding would be withheld from the state of New York. Needless to say, it's no small wonder that New York is amongst the states trying to stop the federal government from examining the national CDL data. Does that prove that the state of New York is covering up fraud? No, not necessarily, but it certainly does not look good. And it gives the American people the right to ask what was really going on in the state of New York. We have seen this before. If this sounds a little familiar, it should. In a previous video, I covered the federal government's removal of 7,500 questionable or non-compliant CDL training schools from its official registry. I also showed you what can happen when a CDL school rubber stamps a driver straight through the CDL training process, start to finish. A CDL in only 8 days. Those videos are linked in the description. Watch them and you'll understand why this investigation matters. This is not a brand new problem. This is actually the same pig with a different shade of lipstick on. There are many legal immigrant drivers out there who are qualified, properly trained, and are doing a great job every day. This video is not about them. Never lose sight of the fact that every CDL license issued illegally or without proper verification creates a risk that should never have existed from the beginning. They also question how the information will be protected, how long it will be kept, and which federal agencies could use it. Those are legitimate concerns, but let's be real here. The government issued that Social Security number to all of us, and the government already knows your date of birth and your driver's license as well. So what's the big deal? Don't you just love how and when that phrase, privacy concern, starts to get tossed around and used as a magic wand to shut down investigations they once stopped? Here's a novel idea. Restrict access. Prohibit unrelated use. Do not hide potential evidence and tell the American people there's nothing to see. The answer to a privacy concern is stronger protection. The answer is not stopping the investigation. Here's where I stand. The federal government should protect the personal information of every legal CDL holder, but it must also investigate every credible case of CDL fraud. Those responsibilities do not cancel each other out. What concerns me is that states with documented CDL licensing failures are now standing in a courtroom trying to stop investigators from examining their records. They want to use privacy concerns as their defense. To that I say, the public has every right to ask the question, are these states really concerned with protecting the privacy of drivers, or are they really trying to run interference for the state officials who created this mess to begin with? If state leaders ignored federal requirements, failed to verify documents, or allowed fraudulent training schools to feed unqualified drivers into the trucking industry, they should be exposed. The American public should come first. The legal truck drivers out there who earn their CDLs the right way should come first. And the families out there sharing the highway with big trucks, they deserve better. I didn't get into this to pick political sides. I got into this because I want every CDL driver, citizen or not, to be qualified, tested, and safe before they're allowed on our nation's highways. Now, I don't want to hear about privacy concerns. I want to hear about safety and less traffic deaths on our highways. My name is Jim Campbell. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Remember to keep the shiny side up and the greasy side down. I'll see you in the next video.